everybody, welcome to Diane Actually Writes. I'm afraid I'm not going to be on camera today. I have either a cold or allergies that are not responding to meds. So basically I have this big red nose and watery eyes and I look like shit and I'm in my pajamas and I'm not feeling like looking at the world. I apologize. However, I will be showing my screen today. I have disabled my camera. So this is not a sprint lobby and I will be on voice. I'll probably mute during the sprints because that way you don't have to listen to me sniff and blow my nose and all those wonderful things in the meantime. But I will be here and I will be talking. So hello and welcome. Good to see you, Emily, Natalia. I don't see James, surprisingly. Oh, it's okay. It's not that bad. It's really, really irritating, but it's not like it's the end of the world. So, tomorrow, there is going to be a big announcement on Ask an Old GM. It is, I'll just say, if you're interested in RPG content related to World Anvil, you really might want to make it. Because there's something happening with the ASC and we're going to announce it tomorrow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I really hope that I'll be feeling better enough by then that I can be on camera because I'm really excited about it actually. So it's going to be lots of fun. We got plans. We got plans. All right, you guys ready to get a sprint started, do you figure? Today I'm going to be working on A Few Good Elves again. I'm going to put up chapter 29 and then I'm going to work on chapter 30, and when I'm done with that I will go back to Know Your Enemy. So alright, no comment, so I'm gonna get a sprint started. I hope that I'm coming through. I edited the wrong scene though to not have a camera, so you're gonna have like fire in the background of the sprints today. Hi Daz, good to see you. I was just complaining about I've either got a cold or an allergy issue that just won't bloody quit today, so I'm not going to be on camera. You will get to see my screen though. Oh, thanks! Me 6 just announced I was going live. How helpful. Okay, here we go. We're going to do a sprint. I'm pretty sure this is the right scene, but I'm going to... Not wrong scene. Right scene. No, wrong scene. There we go. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was already writing, says Natalia. That's awesome. All right. Yeah, sorry, Daz. It's a no camera day because I have either a cold or allergies that just won't quit, and I have a big red Rudolph nose and runny eyes, and I'm in my pajamas, so yeah, I apologize. I'm also going to mute during the sprints so you don't have to listen to me blow my nose consistently. I'm pretty sure I've been over this 100,000 times now. Hey, yeah, Malachi, I saw that. Actually, I got your message. I did respond with an emote. Congrats, that's awesome, and welcome to the tribe. I'll see you at this weekend's Sage seminar then, which they were doing some really good stuff about identifying your product last month, and they're going to continue on in that theme. So I think that you'll probably really enjoy it, and I'm glad to have you. Welcome. That's awesome. For those just arriving, I am not on camera today. I have a cold or allergies or something, and I look terrible, and I'm in my pajamas, so I will be showing my screen. I will be on voice. I will occasionally be muting the mic, so you don't have to listen to me sniffle and, snort. But, yeah. So, not quite a sprint lobby, because I'm at least going to talk, right? I tried that, Daz, and it just made it more irritated. I honestly think what it is I've got a cat hair way up in my sinuses. I can't imagine how I would have gotten a cold. I haven't been anywhere, and when I have, I've had a mask on and been in the car. So, hello, Calutan. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm working on it. We're sprinting. I'm just doing some editing here, Calutan, but thank you. Hello, Weirdwin. Thank you very much for the raid. Good to see you. I am not on camera today. I am either suffering from a cold or allergies that are not responding to medications, so I look terrible. But I am sharing my screen. Good. How was your stream? And that is the sprint. How'd you guys do? I didn't get very far. I'm afraid I'm in a Discord conversation at the moment that's a bit... I'm trying to get things set up for tomorrow if there's actually anything happening tomorrow now, which, you know... Behind the scenes, I've been trying to get something going for a couple of months. And I am... things are in limbo because I don't know what other people are doing, and to say that I'm frustrated about it is probably a major understatement. I was going to make a bit of an announcement tomorrow about an event coming up, but now I don't know if we're doing it at all. So I'm like, sorry, I don't mean to get people all excited about something and then disappoint them. Internet was terrible, but stream was fun, says Weirdwin. Managed a little writing in between technical things. And good to see you, Stretch. Hello, Swiftness. Lurk away. Limbo stinks. Conduit, says Jose? No, it's not Conduit, it's something else entirely. Conduit is still on. Conduit is actually proceeding along very smoothly. Author Goddess and I met on Tuesday night to start laying out our basic ideas for the panels. I can say for sure that we will definitely be able to do the 8 hours on each of the 3 days that we promised in 3 different tracks. And I'm pretty sure we're going to at least expand into the next time slot too, so it may be 16 hours on each of those 3 days. Whether we can make the 24, I'm not sure yet, but it's going to be good, guys. There's a lot of interest and a lot of good suggestions, and now all we have to do is basically track people down and nail them down to a schedule. So I say all, I mean that's actually the bulk of the work, but I have a pretty clear idea where we're going, and I like that, you know? Swiftness has a neat organization method, says Weirdwin. Very pretty. Many boxes. Excellent. Excellent. Have I seen the con Dream Foundry is doing in April? Yes! Yes, I have. I'm signing up for it, actually. That sounds like a great idea. Okay, we're almost... Sorry, just a second here. Plug and play, says Daz. They seem to be doing the 24 hours, says Anastasia. Yeah, that seems to be. I only heard about it after all the workshop applications were closed. They weren't, actually. They say that you can get into, like, lottery for some of the things if you respond before March 21st. So that's 3 days from now, so I checked the box. And Daz is back to writing on Chapter 2, and I am back to editing. I will see you in a minute, gang. Oh, hello there, Chronoyami. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I'm sorry I'm not on camera today. I'm sniffly for some reason. It's either allergies that won't respond to medication or a cold. Either way, I look terrible, so I didn't figure you needed to see that, so I'm just talking today. I hope that's all right. I've got 30 seconds left to the sprint. And that is the sprint. Kayatan says, do you think it is worth trying to get my parents into D&D? Maybe. It could be fun. Stretch agrees. Too right, Kayatan. The more people play D&D, the better. Stretch says, well, I went shopping earlier. I now have over a week's worth of meals in and not a single pizza in sight. Well, good for you. Awesome. This is an effort for TM Stretch. He eats a lot of pizza. And thank you for the comment on the music. I use Sirenscape for my music, and they have some really great tracks that run different kind of moods. I like this one. It's supposed to be like a cyberpunk bar kind of idea, right? But I like it because it's got a groove and it keeps things moving without making it tense, so it reminds me, there was this game I used to play called Roll Cage, and they had music a lot like this. So James says, sorry, I missed 47 minutes of the stream. I was having fun on spreadsheets. I was wondering where you'd gone. Good to see you. Emily says, I'm starting the medieval cooking courses next week. Awesome. So lots of cooking in perspective. Why did that seem like a good idea at the time? Oh, thanks there, Crow. Yeah, I'm sure it's temporary. All right. Emily says, I've made 2 illustrations and read 0 plant articles since the beginning of the stream. I've only read and commented on 2 articles. I need to be more efficient. I get so behind with that, and I have real interest. I really like seeing what other people do. It's why I like doing showcases on this channel, because then at least I get to see some of the stuff. Natalia is still on page 36. Crow says, I had pizza the other day. Was thinking about getting another one tonight. Well, there you go. Stretch says, yeah, pizza is my lazy, can't be bothered meal, really. And I agree with Oxtaze. Pizza is almost perfect food. Grains, veggie fruits, dairy, and sometimes meat. Yep. That's a funny story. My favorite breakfast in the world is cold pepperoni pizza. I absolutely love it. I think that is the best possible food for breakfast. And I argued with my mother about this as a teenager, and I won the argument because I said, but Mom, look, it's got all the 4 basic food groups here, right? And it can't be worse for you than Kraft Dinner. And she went, or these, sugary breakfast cereals, I said. And she went, okay. Pizza for breakfast, says Cayutan. Yep, damn right. With an interrobang, he adds, because what? Yep, pizza for breakfast. Cold pepperoni. delicious. Absolutely my favorite. Yeah, Daz agrees with me. Crow says, I had the same argument for cake for breakfast and surprisingly won. Legit. Legit. October, pumpkin pie for breakfast. Yum. That is my second favorite breakfast in the world there, James. Absolutely adore it, too. Cake for breakfast is fine. At least it's sweet, says Emily. A bunch of people agreeing with me about pizza. That's great. Emily says it looks like we Europeans don't understand the concept. Well, you know, we're not supposed to eat all these high sugary foods. But I mean, a fried egg doesn't have less fat in it than a piece of pizza. I don't understand meat for breakfast. Yeah, but we eat sausage and bacon and shit here, right? So... Natalia says, yeah, pizza for breakfast is fine as long as it's warm. And Stretch says, yesterday I had 2 slices of cold pizza for lunch, as I had to order out the night before, went to cook the sausages that had been in my fridge for a little while, only to find them a little furry. Yikes! Okay, we're back to the sprint, guys. I'll see you in a few. Thank you for the hydrate, Eli, and thank you for the save check, Natalia. And that is the sprint. Dinner should be cooked. Liver and bacon tonight, says Stretch. Sounds delicious. I'm a big fan of liver, and if you do bacon with it, like, that's two of my favorite things, so awesome. Sounds amazing. Okay, Kayatan, see you later. Have a good night. James is taking it easy today, just gonna set up some Google Doc drafts for articles. That's cool. Hello, DJ McGetBuzzy. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, we're doing a writing stream. We do, or, you know, whatever creative projects you want to work on. We do progress sprints in 15-minute blocks and then 5-minute chat sprints. We, or, you know, well, chat periods anyway. You know, you work on your project, maybe you share the info with us, we encourage you in what you're doing, and maybe you encourage us in what we're doing. I'm sorry, I usually have a camera going in the bottom right corner, but I'm not doing that today because I got a cold or something, so I look terrible, and I figure you guys don't need to see that, so... And thanks for the follow, right on! Well, thanks very much. I'm glad to have you follow the channel, it's awesome. Right on. I hope you're well today. James says to Daz, oh no, okay, that's a conversation with Daz, so that's not really my deal. Okay. And DJ said, very cool, just had the notion to look up a writer on Twitch. So she's thinking about what's next. Yeah, actually, I was doing something in another window that I'm not capturing. So, yeah, but... wait, is the title A Few Good Elves? Yes, the title is A Few Good Elves. This is a series that I am writing called the Toy Soldier Saga, and it is basically elves versus orcs in space. It's a war novel. The technology is kind of based on Napoleonic Wars era Age of Sail stuff, only they're, you know, they have magic ships that fly in space. So it's a space opera and all of that, and yeah, it's elves join the Navy and go to fight the orcs and find out the war is hell. So, alright. And yes, are you a writer? That is a good question. I am an unmotivated 30-year-old who may or may not have something to write. Well, you've come to the right place to get encouragement, because we're all about that. We are totally here for supporting people in their efforts to write, and writing for writing's sake, whether you intend to publish or not. So if you've got something you've been thinking about, hey, try putting it to paper, you know? And you can do it. Anybody can do it. If they're determined, they can do it. Stretch says, not amused. There was no bacon in it. It was a ready meal. Although it was still quite nice. Oh, boo, no bacon. Blah. Natalia says, page 37, so I'm done for the day. Good job. Stretch says, at 11 years, and that's me, had no motivation recently. You can't handle the toys, says Swiftness. Oops, excuse me. Sorry, I just had to sneeze. Alright. James says, question for the next break. What should I include in an article about train stations? And Angsthaze wants to know if anybody's good with WordPress Elementor. I don't know what Elementor is. Yeah, how about the train engine gets turned about and around, where it is, what destinations it serves, like where can you go from there, what kind of train does it run? Is it a maglev? Is it a, an old-fashioned steam train? It's a plugin for WordPress? Okay, I don't know, Angsthaze, I have never used it. I use WordPress, but I just use it directly, so. Alright, that's the sprint. I'm gonna run off for just a moment for a bio, and I will be right back, gang. Good night, Natalia. Sleep well. Thanks for joining me. Oh, hey, congrats on the job interview offer there, James. Good luck. And that is the sprint. Also, Sable, a spare box of tissues. Thank you. We are out of tissues at the moment. I'm using tissue by the roll. Stretch says, in fact, Sable, you're not the only one sniffy at the moment. I've been in the last few days, but think that's because I've been walking to and from the superstore to do food shopping as car is still in the garage. Yeah, could be. James says, Sable, I've been offered oh yeah, I already saw the job interview and mentioned it. That's great. Anastasia is trying not to get mad and remove the whole WordPress install again. DJ can't find their pencil sharpener. That sucks. When you can't find your pencil sharpener. When you lose your spare and don't bother finding it because you have your main one and then your main one goes missing. Yup. And now you're forced to go searching or pull out a pocket knife and whittle a bit, says Daz. Oh, it was in your gym bag. Okay, that's, well, glad you found it. Stretch is trying to help Bongstaze out. That's great. Crow is on page 52 of 100. That's excellent. Good work, guys. Ugh. Well, I'm glad that you found your pencil, and that's awesome. We can, and pencil sharpener, and get some stuff done. That's great. Writing is one of those things that, you know, the more you do it, the better it flows. Just in case someone thought otherwise, line editing is not fun, says Crow. Yep. Trust me, we know all about it here. Author Goddess, who's one of our streamers in the Anvilite Streamer Core, which I will put the link for up, right? And also a writing streamer. She streams later at night, like 2 a.m. my time, and I'm in the Pacific time zone, so let's see. That would be 5 a.m. GMT, or 5 a.m. Eastern, and 7. Currently it would be 9 a.m. GMT. Normally it's 10 a.m. GMT. Right, she's got this wonderful set of memes about editing that she runs on her stream right now, because that's what she's been doing. And, you know, one of them is like, you know, Schmeagol going, "We has to do the edits!" with a, and then we got, you know, Gollum going, "But we hates it!" So yeah, I feel your pain. Angsaze says that's why line editors charge for big bucks. She's right. Crow says, I'm editing for my friend and I love this book, so having to pick it apart is killing me inside. Yeah, but see, I just did that for Author Goddess, right? She's an author under the name Sarah Berman, and she writes a series called The Rune Spells, which I'm a legit big fan of. I love it, right? And I had the honor of editing her 4th book in the series, and you know, it was the best writing she's ever done that I've seen from her, right? So that was awesome, right? But I did find things that needed attention, right? Because, I mean, you're doing a favor for your friend, right? You're helping your friend to polish their gem. I keep saying an editor's job is to take the gem that the writer has harvested from the earth and cut it and polish it so that it becomes the beautiful gem that people see in the store, right? So, you know, that's your job. You're helping them by doing that, and, you know, they're going to appreciate it. So, you know, don't feel too bad about it. You're doing them a favor, and you're really, you know, it's a good one, too. 9 to 10 GMT on Friday, says Emily. Yeah, fair enough, thank you. And that was in regard to the GMT time of Author Goddess's stream. Daz says, I'm doing more rewriting than editing right now, so the new stuff will need editing. Yep, legit. And Ongsaze found a way around her issue. That's great. Okay, I'm going back to the sprint. And I think I'm gonna bop out for the first part of the sprint to grab myself a drink that isn't coffee, and probably grab another antihistamine. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have a drink, and I took my antihistamine, and I'm getting back to work. that is the sprint. Oh, I definitely see why the automod blocked that. I'm sure it wasn't used in that context, though. Hi, Claire. Claire says, I just realized why the US is calling it a stimulant fund, because that's all you can afford with it, a jar of coffee. Anastasia came back with, you're overpaying for your coffee if it's costing you more than 1,000 Ameridollars. And then as Claire said, okay, but you getty the pointy. Yep. Anastasia says, according to my partner who works at an American bank, it's more because when people get it, they act like overstimulated children on Christmas morning. Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. When poor people get a sudden windfall of money, they do tend to act like children on Christmas morning, right? And the reason why is because they're so often deprived of, you know, things that they need or simple enjoyment value, that when they have a windfall, they take advantage of it, especially because they know for a fact that money may not be coming in again, right? And this is their only chance. So, I mean, it's perfectly understandable. It's something that I often see a critique of, and it's the kind of thing that is used to, you know, oh, well, you know, it's used to justify not giving poor people money, right? Because, oh, well, poor people are stupid, they're just going to blow it anyway. Well, of course they do. They've been doing without so many basic things for so long that it's nice to actually, like, maybe have a dinner that isn't craft dinner, you know what I mean? So, you know, I really don't think, you know, you're right, Anastasia, but I don't think they can be faulted for that. Back to another conversation. Stretch, oh, you too, eh? Stretch says, ARG! Getting stressed with CSS coding. I worked hard to get the Arachnia stuff looking good. Had a really cool futuristic tablet effect for the tooltips. I remember seeing it. Now, without this code changing, it's gone back to the plain tooltip background. I'm not happy. How can code work one day and then not the next when it's not been changed? It's been pointed out that Amelie was having a similar issue, and the other thing is that I know that Dinosaur Bob was having issues with his text background not showing up. Like, the background picture of his CSS showed up, but the text background that he chose, which looked like parchment, didn't, so it made it very difficult to see. I can only imagine that there must have been some update to the World Anvil interface recently that has interfered with a bunch of CSS. I don't know for sure. My suggestion is ask Dimmy. And, you know, I encourage you to do so because a lot of people would like to know what's going on. Oh, thank you for the save check, and thank you for the posture check. Much appreciated, Claire. Stretch, that's a good idea. James says, good night all. Good night, James. Thanks for joining me. Have a good sleep. Daz says, my Christmas cactus bloomed for Christmas. One branch is blooming now. That's nice. I have never been able to get a Christmas cactus to survive past January. I don't buy them anymore. Just posted in the World Anvil CSS help about it, says Stretch. I find this occasionally with some themes. Code works in some, but not others. Fair enough. Claire says, that moment you realize you're actually breaching a contract and committing data fraud because you didn't tell the Nielsen TAM agency you're trans. Oh dear. Okay, what the heckers, Automod? Yeah, I got to do a mod thing, says Stretch. Yeah, I see why, right? And it's because, you know, fraud you're trans was the thing that it cited, you know, and I can imagine that people get abuse all the time from jerk-offs claiming you're not really trans, so... Oh, that explains everything. Stretch says, just found out in the Discord that the BB code has changed to use Tool Tipster now. If too much CSS stops working, I'll just go back to Freeman account, as I've not been writing much recently. Yeah, I hear you. That must have been the change that was made to use variables. That makes sense. You can now do tooltips as variables. I found it personally very helpful. You know, I do things like the pronunciation of my nation names and my ethnicities and stuff. These are things that people often trip over when they're reading the article, I've learned, since, you know, I've taken advantage of showcases and other people's streams. And, you know, variable is exactly what I need to solve that, and I'm looking forward to it. I've just started using them, but I can certainly see how I'll expand them. But, of course, I'm sure there's been things that it messed up in the meantime. Okay, I really should get back to the sprint. Let's see how much I have left here. Now, one problem every week, says Amelie. Yeah, the problem is that World Anvil's still in beta, and Dimmy is constantly changing things, and he does it to try to make everything better, but it does mess stuff up. Sable, have you started your pronunciation guide? How do you make the audio file for it? I have not made an audio file for it. So far, I have been using the IPA alphabet, the International Pronunciation, whatever it is, you know, but I think probably what I would do is embed, okay, I would either host MP3s on my own website and include a link, which means you would have to do an entirely different, like you'd have to go to a different site for that. Or I would put them on probably SoundCloud or maybe Anchor, or, you know, maybe as short YouTube clips if you've got nothing better, because you can link all those directly in an article, right? So would IPAreader.xyz help generate? Yes, it would. I'm Canadian, I should be saying XYZ, right? Yes, and I put a link to that reader on my language page so that people know to check there if they want to see how it's pronounced. And Emily says, okay, I'm getting back to the sprint, guys, but Emily says this week's problem was entirely my fault. Okay. 58 out of 100, says Crow. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to get back to the convo, but I gotta get back to work. We'll definitely address it in the next chat break. Well, thanks for the hydrate check there, Crow. Hail hydrate. You guys remember me talking about abolish and do away with redundancy yesterday? That edit that I just did was an example of that. If you've been reading through this book by now, you're aware that Admiral Goldenbough is a sadist. So that could not be good for the prisoners. The reader is smart. The reader can figure that out, especially given the context of how Shandar is talking to the champion and telling him, beware this guy. So, there's a marvelous example of what I was talking about. And that's the sprint. How are you guys doing on your projects, by the way? Okay, back to the chat. It's an agency issue, just like with the children, says Angstaze. This is the only chance in forever to have the tiniest bit of control over their own lives. Or at least it's craft dinner, not our compliments boxed macaroni and cheese. I've eaten enough of that stuff. Okay, I say they, like I'm not poor. I'm poor, okay? So, you know, yeah, I know totally. Claire's like, I'm poor, can confirm. Yep. Oh, Emily was missing a bracket in the CSS. Well, that'll do it. Yep. Swiftness is going, if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million. Yep. That song is in totally the wrong key for me. It's one of the best Canadian songs ever, and I have real trouble. It's like really, either it's too low for me, or, you know, if I do it like an octave up, it strains my range. Because it stays in roughly the same scale. Yeah. Emily completely forgot that she pasted a line of code in the middle, rather than at the bottom like she usually does, and didn't copy it properly. How long do we stream for? Asked Crow. Yeah, I'm usually on till 5 o'clock Pacific, so about 50 minutes from now. 5 o'clock Pacific is midnight GMT, right? At least according to the current time zone thing. And then when Europe switches over, it will be 1 a.m. GMT. And I start at 2 p.m. GMT on this stream, or 2 p.m. Pacific on the stream, which is this week 9 o'clock and, 10 o'clock usually, so yeah. Emily says I should ask oncoming shower. I saw their audio file and it's very high quality. That's cool, good idea. I know that if I register myself speaking, it will be terrible. Can you get an audio file from the reader? I imagine you can, actually. All you would have to do is set up something to record your computer. I could do it with a program I've got called SoundForge. Oh, cool! Crow says, wait, you're Canadian? I'm in Nova Scotia. Well, hey, all right, Maple Solidarity here. Ansaze is also Canadian. She is in Ontario. So, yeah, I'm in BC. And I loved Nova Scotia. I didn't see as much of it as I'd like, and I hardly think that I have gotten a real sense of what Nova Scotia is about. But a couple of years ago, we had a windfall, we bought an RV, and we went across the country, and, speaking of windfalls of money you kind of blow, right? And, it was great. I love Nova Scotia. It's fantastic there. I went out as far as Cape Breton Island, so one end of the country to the other. It was fantastic. Yeah, using a screen recorder might not be legal, though. That's true. Writer's block, you say, says Claire. Faints. Oh, you can download files from the IPA. Oh, I did not know. Where'd you find that? Can you post the link, Amelie? I want that. Sap and Star says, oh, what? How did I not know you could use World Anvil to structure a book? You sure can. Yeah, this is their manuscripts application, which you find by scrolling down the sidebar here, and it's right there underneath Campaign and before Studio. And yeah, I think it's like the best of Scrivener, Word, and Google Docs all combined. I think it's fantastic. Best software I've ever used. I mean it, honestly, right? So, I love it. It drags scenes around, add new scenes. It's fantastic. All on mini sidebars, so your writing's still right where you were when you decided to move things, as Daz points out. Right? You can hide the sidebar and pop it out as needed with one easy click, and it's even easy to edit on phone, guys. I've done it in the car. Lots. 65 out of 100 done, says Crow. Excellent. And Stretch says, still arc. Yeah. Okay, gonna double check and make sure. Oh, when you have the IPA reading, you have 3 dots at the end of the player and it says download. Oh my god, that's fantastic. Okay. Cool. I might just do that. Oh, DJ's Canadian too, from Winnipeg. From Winterpeg. We moved away when they were 2. Now I'm in Florida, the dream. Is Florida nice? Is it worth it to move? I guess compared to Winnipeg, the contrast in climate is pretty amazing. Okay, but I will say, though, I've been to Winnipeg for extended visits because I have friends there, and I absolutely love Winnipeg, and I think that it's unfair that the big thing it is known for is being cold and windy. Yes, that's true. A panel blew right off the side of our RV while we were passing through, as a matter of fact, but it's got an amazing arts community, and there's so many beautiful sights to see. And it's really good winter living, actually, because everything is all indoors. They got, covered walkways over the streets and stuff. I love it. I love Winnipeg. Oh, really interesting communities there, too. If you like pierogies, you're never going to find better pierogies. It's great. Hey Moon, thanks for the hydrate check. Hail hydrate. And that is the sprint. How's everyone doing? DJ said before the break, I've just started brainstorming my novel. Awesome. I have 5 pages of planning written out as I've just started. Excellent. Emily says I had finished making my dancers, but at the last minute I decided to change the background, so I'm now erasing the white background around the dancers. Been there. That can be a pain in the butt. Crow says, hype! Awesome. Stretch says, well, I got the background image back, but still not right. Gonna leave it now before I throw something. Yeah, I hear ya. That's so cool about the download of the IPA. I might try to make an audible dictionary then. That's a project I'm not going to take on for some time, but good to know. And I think that's very cool. DJ says, Florida is very good as long as you have job security, as well as if you stay out of the southeast, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Broward County, Dodd County, for the sole reason that these areas are oversaturated with too many discontent people. The reason you want job security down here in Florida is because Florida doesn't have much going for it economically aside from ports. And that's assuming you don't want to become a bartender, a stripper, or a waitress, or a waiter. Yeah, I imagine actually that you probably could make good money as a stripper in Miami if that's, you know, something that interests you. I mean, sex work is work. I got nothing against that. No judgment on my part. I frankly don't have enough body security to do it. Moonflower says, I'm eating more than I expected. I was so hungry. Daz agrees, food is good. Moonflower adds, food is good, but it was an entire full-size Baconator from Wendy's. Most of the bacon was taken off and given to my brother, though. Sounds delicious. Enjoy. Maybe you're craving something. Needed protein. Moonflower says I was planning on eating half of it, but I was so hungry from not eating a proper lunch that I ate the whole thing. Well, good for you. Food is good. I don't think that... Like, I think people are a little obsessed about junk food, but... honestly, like, you know, what are you going to eat for dinner, right? I doubt you're eating filet mignon, you know. I doubt that you're eating, you know, nice lean salads. You're probably eating, KD with hamburger in it, so that's no worse for you than a Baconator. Crow is on 74 out of 100. Excellent. Daz says, good. Words are coming slow, but they are arriving. Any progress is progress, and some days it's like that. Emily finished her image. Excellent. Can be dangerous stripping, says Daz. Legit. Legit. Good friend of mine did that for years. Right? DJ says, I've stripped before. It can be okay, but not taking drugs while stripping is like not smoking when you go through rehab. Everybody does it, and it's only the most straight edge of people that don't end up wasting budgets on drugs while stripping. Yeah, I've heard that too. My friend did not, right? She had a little girl that she was supporting and was adamant that she was not getting involved in that lifestyle, and she didn't. And she made good money, and she was good at it, so good for her. Crow says, I could totally rock that stripper pole. You get paid per pound, right? Yeah. You know, I'm sure that people would like there to be some place where you could see strippers of a variety of sizes. Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is because people don't have respect for people who are in sex work, that you don't have the same kind of protections in your job that you do in other jobs, which is really stupid and unfortunate, I think. Stretch says, first bar I ever worked behind was a strip club. That was an interesting job. Well, people get disrespectful and rude sometimes, don't they? And it's a shame. Alright, we're back to the sprint, and I'm moving on to another chapter here. I think it might be time to change books at this point. And that is the sprint. How are you guys doing? We don't have time quite for another sprint, I don't think. I may do 5 minutes or so of a sprint, though. If you could do me a favor when you get the chance there, Stretch. It won't quite be time yet, but closer to the time. If you could see if Davina is on for me, that would be really appreciated. Davina said that she might stream after me today. I'm going to reload this page. This is the Anvilite Streamer Core calendar. Everybody on this calendar uses World Anvil, and they do it for some reason, right? Some of them are writers, some of them are RPG players or game designers. Some of them are script writers, some of them are just world builders that like creating artificial worlds, and we're doing the thing. It doesn't have her on the schedule. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong schedule. Okay. Yeah, she's on the schedule. She's right there. So hopefully she'll be on, because I never get the chance to raid Davina anymore. Okay, Crow went to grab some more water. Stretch said, oh yeah, I used to get the guys in talking about strip clubs and sex work. Right, I used to get the guys in that had money and always wanted to show off in front of the girls, so they'd put down the guy behind the bar, then to look so small when they didn't get served. Well, yeah. Okay, I see there's been some conversation about the nature of sex work. I'm going to read it all, and then I'm going to offer my opinion afterwards. Moonflower says, sex work is work, and working shouldn't be illegal, but it has been shown that indulging in sex work is better off being illegal because legalizing it increases demand without there being more willing workers. So human trafficking usually gets involved, from a few articles I read on the matter. DJ says, personally, I believe that we should illegalize all sex work and let society start out from a lack of sex workers just to hit that refresh button so we can find out what is needed and what isn't. From what I've seen, the economies that are affected by sex work are incredibly lacking in the department of being a human, like feeling you're contributing something worthwhile or waking up energetically. Then again, I feel as if a lot of sectors need a big old wipe restart. I wouldn't argue with you there. Sapin Star says that would hurt a lot of marginalized people who are forced to rely on sex work to survive. Also a good point. Stretch says, yeah, I see that, especially with the cam stuff about now, like OnlyFans, etc. The home cam stuff is in many ways a lot safer than working in a club. Yeah, and I know a few people who did that too. Good friends. DJ says, and DJ, remember, said that they were a stripper at one point, said no one relies on sex work. That's my opinion. There's way more things out there. Not including sex workers who dream of becoming sex workers, which is a vast minority. There are some, but yeah, fair enough. Daz says flipping scenes. Crow says page 78 of 100, got food and more water. Excellent. Food and water are progress. Writer and editor fuel are important. I'm glad you did some self-care. Stretch says, I'm sure we can all just natter for 10 minutes. And he will check. Only posting Anvil Streams Discord is for geeks so far. Can I provide that link for the ASC calendar? I certainly can, and there it is, if Stretch hasn't beaten me to it. Eli is up. Yeah, if Davina doesn't go up, I'll raid Eli, of course. Or maybe Gala. Lots of options. Oh, Stretch did beat me to it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, about the idea of sex work and whether or not it should be legal. Okay. So, it depends how you're going to go about it. Here in Canada, we went with the Swiss model, which I think is the dumbest fucking shit ever. And for those of you who don't know, what that is that sex work is perfectly legal. Paying for sex is not. So, what ends up happening is that, sex workers are perfectly legit to do their work and advertise and everything else, and that's perfectly fine, but their customers can get arrested. I think this makes the job more unsafe for people who are doing sex work because, of course, the customers are wanting to protect themselves and their identities. I think it's nonsense, and I think it's more harmful than making sex work itself illegal. So, that's my opinion about that. I agree with you about the reset, but you see, my opinion is, if we treated sex work like work, if we allowed people to have job benefits and unionize, and there was a certain standards, board that did things like, did health inspections and whatnot, right? Then, I think that attitudes would change about it, and people, because part of the problem is that we do not respect sex workers. We treat them poorly and regard them poorly. If you are doing that kind of work and somebody does something to you, I mean, look what happened just now with this, mass shooting, right? We have cops that are giving sympathetic case arguments for the bloody murderers, right? I think that, and I also think that, okay, it's the usual sexist bullshit, okay? Because the vast majority of people in sex work are women or people of various trans or non-conforming gender identities, right? And not to say the men don't do sex work, of course they do, but, right, the sexist bullshit is the combination of, we can't have these, Jezebels tempting people because we're unable to control ourselves as men, which also is a really, I think, misandrous view of men. I think more highly of men than that. So, they have that, but at the same time they're going on, well, men and their testosterone, if they don't do something about it, then, they get violent and bad things happen. Well, okay, if that's the case, then don't you think that sex workers are doing a valuable service for society? Right? I don't know. I think that the whole attitude towards the industry is entirely based on sexist bullshit, and it would be really nice if we didn't have that attitude. But legitimizing gay marriage changed the attitude that people had towards LGBTQ people in general, at least gay and bisexual people and lesbian people in particular, although that apparently has not affected our trans brothers and sisters and siblings as much as it should. But if we legitimized the work, then more people would respect it, right? That's my opinion. But hey, what do I know, right? I just have one opinion. Moonflower says, if no one relies on sex work, then the only sex workers would be the ones who want to be sex workers, and that would be awesome, because why not? And then Moonflower says, the problem pointed out by the articles I read involved no change in mindset, and that's the biggest problem. Yep. But legalizing all sex work, including paying for it, without a mindset change leads to human trafficking, according to the articles in many cases. Do they have evidence to cite for this? Or is this just a theory? Because I have, I think a lot of people theorize without knowing for sure, right? I don't think that trafficking, I can't imagine, logically I would think that if you legalized it and people had job protections, it would be harder to make people disappear, don't you think? Davina just posted in the Discord. Awesome. So we're going to go see Davina. That is great. I never get the chance to raid Davina. I really like her. I think she's, I like her as a person. I think she's an awesome streamer. She does RPG game content. Okay. DJ has an opinion. To respect it is to invite chaos. Here's to me why. The only way for the uglier sex workers to make money is to do the dirtier deeds behind the scenes. You can quote me on that. That's fair. Yeah. Right? Not to judge anybody. I don't. But I do recognize that, you know, that's a thing, right? And if the respect becomes a sure thing, that means that these people, although pretty in many standards, cannot make good money even on the weekends. Fair. Okay, then that's a valuable point too, Moon. They did have evidence. The whole thing about it was that legalizing but not legitimizing it was a problem. Well, yeah, fair enough. But I think one has to happen before the other can. I don't know. This is an opinion that I've based talking to my friends, but I have not done this work. So, Daz says, Sable, will you make a command to the link for the link to the redundancy article? Yeah, you guys were asking me to do that, weren't you? I forgot. I'm sorry. I'll do it as soon as I get off stream. Oh, and world building for the RPG stuff. Yes. Yeah, that's right. What Davina does. DM Stretch says, I know people who have been in the industry. One of my ex-girlfriends was a stripper for a while just to get money. I must say I'm not too sure about those articles, Moon. I do wonder who they were written by and their personal values on the trade. And that's worth checking. I read them a while ago, so I no longer have the links. That's fair enough. But they were specific to something going on in Germany. Okay. Fair enough, Moon. And maybe that's a case study because I do think sex work is legal in Germany, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, but I think I remember hearing that. And, you know, maybe it's not legitimized, right? They use German data at the least. Well, makes sense. I think you have to legalize before you can legitimize. As long as something is illegal, it is not legitimized, right? We're in the process of legitimizing cannabis use here in Canada, right? Because it is now legal, right? And, you know, people have argued for a long time, and I think they're right, that really alcohol is a much more dangerous drug, and we legitimize that. So, you know, usually the most harmful thing people do after they smoke a joint is go spend a bunch of money they can't afford to spend at 7-Eleven for snacks. You know, it's like, you know, so, you know, but there's still some very, you know, this is bad and people who do cannabis are bad among some circles, but it's becoming more broadly accepted that, you know, cannabis is like you have a drink on the weekend and maybe you smoke a doob with your buddies, right? And whatever, right? As most people know, my husband smokes medical cannabis, right? And we don't show that on stream, but that's something he does, and it helps him a lot with chronic pain. And I don't generally smoke it because it just doesn't do much for me. So, right? The world will not end for me if cannabis is illegal, but it might make my husband's life very difficult. So, DJ says, it's also worth mentioning that sex workers in the bar industry are just catalysts to sell alcohol. That is true, as the house only gets paid fees due by the sex workers. Yes. Yes, that is true, and that's a problem, you know? Moonflower says third-hand cannabis smoke can kill people who aren't even near the smoker, so you have to be careful where it's used. Well, that would be why the same rules apply to cannabis in Canada that apply to smoking tobacco. Basically, you're allowed to smoke cannabis anywhere that you're allowed to smoke tobacco, but you're not allowed to smoke tobacco in indoor public spaces. You're not allowed to smoke it in within like 5 feet of a doorway in most cities, or some 10. Right? You're not allowed to smoke it in parks or around schools or in your car, right? You have to be at home. So, yeah. All right. And Davina is up. So let's go raid Davina. Thank you guys very much for writing with me today. I really enjoyed your company. As always, I'm glad to see all my fave people here, and I was also really happy to see a few people that I have not seen before, and I hope you'll stay. Welcome to the community. We're a pretty friendly bunch. There's lots of us. Chances are, if you keep following the raid cycle around, you'll find lots of other writers and world builders here as we go from one person to another. Yeah, I think we do, Daz. Most of the time, anyway. Yeah. All right, so when you get to Davina, don't forget to yell, "Prepare to be boarded," because we are the Sable's privateers. I will be back on probably Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. GMT. Erin is back tomorrow with Ask an Old GM, 1 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. GMT. And, of course, I am back on Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. GMT for Sable's World Forge, which is my world building stream. It was a pleasure to have you all, and I will see you over at Davina's stream. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.